Hello everybody, welcome to the brand new NLP life lessons. Now here's what this is all going to be about. I have, as you probably know, been using NLP now for around 12 years. I've been using it mainly with clients and also in training, but I use it on myself too, in the context of my day-to-day life, because for some reason weird stuff happens to me, unusual things happen, and sometimes quite challenging things happen too, and I need to use my skills to be able to reframe everyday things that happen in life so that I can see those from the best possible perspective. So that's what this series of videos is going to be all about, how I am using my NLP in an everyday scenario, and then in a perhaps an invitation for you to start using some of the same skills in the same way for yourself, for your own betterment and well-being too. So what I'm going to be doing is essentially sharing with you slices of life with an NLP twist to them. Now, I can't guarantee it will always be pure NLP based stuff. In fact, I'm not even too sure that today's one is, but it will have a personal development edge to it. It will have a degree of positive attitude, and with any luck there may even be the odd splash of humour in there too. So let me tell you what our very first life lesson is all about. So sometimes when I work with people on a one-to-one and I ask them a tricky question, and when I say tricky question, I don't mean that the answer is difficult, I mean the answer is difficult for them to share for some reason. Now in that situation you can either keep digging with more and more and more questions, or you can use the benefit of silence. Because when you see that there is silence in the room, or when you hear that there is silence in the room. Do you hear silence? I guess you don't hear anything if you're hearing silence. Anyway, the point is, when there's silence in the room, people like to fill it because it feels a little bit uncomfortable in a way, and it causes them to open up and to share more than perhaps they were necessarily going to. So an example of where I've used this in the past, although I wasn't actually meaning to do this, we were contacting companies to provide CDs for us. So some of you are members of the People Building Members Club, and you receive CDs through the post from us every month. Now, we were finding the right company to provide those CDs, and one of the companies that I spoke to, when I spoke to the chap and I said, how much is it going to cost roughly per disc? And he said it's around £1.04 per disc. Now, as he was saying this, I was kind of frantically looking through my notebook, trying to find the details of all the other companies that I'd asked the same question to, so I could start comparing the numbers. What it sounded like for him was as if I went silent, because I was thinking and looking for stuff and not speaking. What he started to do to fill the silence, because it felt a little bit strange, was he started to negotiate himself down. So it sounded a bit like this. He said, it's typically about £1.04. I could probably do it for 102 though. A pound would be fine. I can do it. Actually, we could do it for 98. See, 95 would really be pushing it. Okay, I'll do it for 95. At which point, my attention kicked back in and I went, yeah, 95 pence per disc is absolutely fine, thank you very much. So I realised then how powerful the skill of silence can be in negotiating. Now, how does this tie to NLP? I guess it doesn't directly, but we do know, for example, that nature likes a void would be one way of putting it. So that is that when we take something away, we typically like to fill it back up with something else. When we work with clients, for example, if we have helped address an issue like smoking, And part of the payoff that they got from smoking was that they got to spend time speaking to other people in the smoking area outside of work, and it was their social time. If we take smoking away, they might feel the loss of connection. So it's really important that we find some other way of meeting that need for connection without smoking, so that they don't go back to smoking just to meet their need for connection again. So that's an example of where if we take something away, it gets filled up with something else, unless we purposely fulfill it with something useful and meaningful. So going back to the skill of silence, it's not just that I know how this works and I know how to do it. The fact is, it also works on me, as I discovered to my surprise yesterday. So for those of you who've been out of the loop for a little while, for the last couple of years I haven't probably made any videos really, and that's because lots of stuff's been going on. So I moved house, and we moved the office into a new building, and it needed a big refurb because it was a hairdresser's, and I got 2 cats, and my dad passed away, which was very sad, and lots of stuff's been happening. We got burgled, and that was crazy, and blah. Anyway, so one of the things that's happened since I've moved back to my hometown of the lovely Hemel Hempstead is part of the area has been renovated and relaunched, and I very much wanted to become part of that new community and to start developing a sense of community spirit. So yesterday I took part in the Old Town Traders Association meeting. Now they hadn't got together for quite a while since the refurbishment was completed last year. So it was kind of a new group in a way, but lots of familiar faces and just a couple of newbies, me being one of them. So anyway, I went to this Traders Association meeting, and the guy that was chairing it said, I think, you know, going forward we need to be much more structured, much more strategic about how we're utilising this forum, and so I suggest that we should appoint a chairman, a vice chairman, a secretary, a treasurer, blah blah blah, all of this stuff. So everyone said, well, you should really be the chairman because you've organised the whole thing. And he said, okay, so I'm looking now then for a vice chairman to step in whenever I'm not around. So he looks around the room, you know, kind of making eye contact with everyone, and the room went silent. And then suddenly I heard, I'll do it. And I looked around to see where the little voice had come from. And then I realised that the little voice had come from me. And the pressure of the silence had clearly become too much. And I nominated myself to be the vice chairman of the Traders Association in my first meeting. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but they accepted. So I now have another job title, which is going to be interesting. So anyway, here's the thing. Power of silence really does work. It also works on me, and I know how it works. So that is our very first life lesson. Here's what I want you to do with this. In the bit below the video, I want you to share your own stories about where you've either been caught out by the power of silence yourself, or where you've used it craftily to manipulate a situation for your own good. Share away, and I will be back with you next week with one more life lesson based on something that's happened in the last 7 days. I may do more than one a week, and I might sometimes miss a week, so don't be offended either way. Share your stories, and I look forward to reading them. Bye for now.